Ever find yourself jobless, angry, and fed up? If not, I envy your life. Unfortunately, that's the state I find myself in. Worked at a grocery store for about a decade. Customer decided to get rough with one of the other employees over some goddamn baby formula. One punch later, they're getting a couple $100 in gift certificates not to sue, and I'm out the door. I'd say, funny how life works. Really, there's nothing funny about my situation. So, here I sit, combing through Reddit for some horror to take my mind off my impending financial doom, watching 80s slasher films when that gets old, and rereading my Stephen King collection, of course. I mean, it'd be a good life if I wasn't sneaking ever closer to starvation. One day, though, I get a chat request, right? I accept it. See a phone number. My first thought is that it's from some kind of ARG, so wallowing in shame, worry, and boredom, I give it a call. Thank you for calling Project Insomnia. How may I direct your call? An upbeat female voice says. Got sent this number on Reddit, so I'm wondering what everything's about, I reply. Good for you. I'll connect your call, the voice replies. After a few minutes of hold music, that's exactly as you'd expect, someone answers. Nathan, glad you decided to call. I've heard you're looking for employment and enjoy horror, am I correct? The professional-sounding man says. I'm a little weirded out. I'm not the type to use my name online much. Of course, that isn't my name, but a stand-in. I'm sure you all know that. And I certainly haven't been posting about my financial state. Till this, anyway. But people who run ARGs can get really into the weeds, so I don't really think of it too much. Right on both accounts. Why? I reply. We have an opportunity for you. 2 weeks of your time, using your skills, $20K. The voice says simply. God, I could use that money in real life. But hey, guess we'll keep my mind off things while I wait for some answers on resumes, so sign me up, I answer. Nathan, I think you're misunderstanding. We're not running any kind of game. I'm offering you money for your time. The voice sounds mildly annoyed. Really? Huh. Well, I'll bite. What's the catch? Is this some kind of MLM, pyramid scheme? What's going on? I ask. Details can be given in person. I'll send you a location. We can meet and see if you feel the job is a good fit. I'd request you bring a suitcase in case you feel like taking us up on our offer. There are many other people who have been chosen, and time is a factor, the voice explains. I get some mild BS vibes from his statements, but it's not like I have a full schedule. A couple days later, I find myself in a small diner a couple of towns over, sitting with a man in a plain black suit. He doesn't seem nervous, but there's a vigilance in his eyes, like he's used to watching out for things. Glad to see you've made it. You wouldn't believe how hard it is to get people to believe you're paying $20,000, the man in front of me says. I would. I'm waiting for the part where you tell me it's split up over a decade, requires a $5K deposit. Before that, though, can I know who I'm talking to? I ask. You can call me Adrian, and I assure you what I'm offering is real. By the end of this meeting, if you so choose, I'll have the money in your account, is Adrian's reply. There's some silence. A waitress comes over. Anything I can get for you two? The middle-aged lady asks. Coffee for me. And a clubhouse sandwich with fries for my friend, Adrian replies. I'm not shocked that he knew what I'd order. More amused. Whoever these people are, they've dug into me. So you're trying really hard to cultivate a mysterious aura, and I mean, it's working, though, What's the job? I say. Simple, really. We want you to watch horror, lots of it, for extended periods of time, and give your observations, Adrian said. Is this some kind of, AI training shit? Because I don't know if I'm that desperate, I reply. No, Nathan. You'll be watching real people. Nothing artificial about it. But I know the question you're really asking. Why are we offering you so much money for something you do every day, while you hope to get a call back from the sanitation office or a McDonald's? The answer is not going to be as exciting as you think. Your accommodations are going to be rather Spartan. somewhere between a small apartment and a prison cell. We need secrecy and a high volume of participants, hence the arrangement, Adrian explained. My food comes. I feel like I'm under a microscope as I eat, Adrian's eyes dissecting my every movement. So, there's some kind of test run, I'm guessing, like Halloween-themed attractions at an amusement park. You're paying for me to shut up about it more than anything, I question. Adrian gives a half shrug. Close enough for government work. So what's the verdict? I have 2 more people I have to see tonight. Adrian offers, sliding over a small stack of papers and a pen. I read through the contract, smirking a little. This is some McCamey Manor stuff here, Adi. Like, this part about consenting to methods of encouragement that may lead to physical harm. You can't sign away your rights against assault, so clearly you guys aren't going to be knocking anyone's teeth out. Adrian smiles. No one in organization has any intent to put hands on you. Astute observation, though. If you want my opinion, remove those parts. Just let people imagine what bad things could happen. All the real bits seem in order. So what about my money? I ask. The grin Adrian gives me should have been my warning sign, but I was too busy getting a notification of $20,000 in my nearly empty bank account. Jesus, Murphy, you weren't kidding, were you? It's like someone tried to turn a submarine brig into a bachelor pad, I say, looking around the small room. There's a bed with thin sheets, a large desk with a few dozen monitors, and that's about it. Enough room to maybe do some push-ups, but nothing more. One thing I noticed right off the bat is how the monitors were constructed. Thick, textured plastic leads to the wall, locking each one of them in place. They're hardwired into the electrical system, the plugs being reinforced and grounded behind the wall. There's a small vent in the ceiling doing its damnedest to minimize the musty odor of the place. The toilet is what I expect, stainless steel and industrial, but at least it's clean. The door gives me pause, thick steel and with a slot in the middle. If the project takes off, maybe we'll look into making the workspace more comfortable, Adrian offers. Not like you could make it any less so. But hey, $20K makes it seem a lot bigger than it is, am I right? I replied. Meals are served 3 times a day. We've not found any dietary restrictions in our research on you, but if you have any, feel free to let us know. You may keep your cellular device, but usage in most cases will be seen as contrary to the rules outlined in the contract. Once daily, you will be expected to give a report on what you're seeing on the monitors. Attention to detail is key, Adrian explains. Okay, so this is kind of like a night trap meets escape room situation, I say, sitting down on a small computer chair, looking at the bank of various monitors. There's that attention to detail we're looking for. Watch the monitors, Nathan, Adrian says, closing the steel door. Want to know what I'm feeling? Joy. Yeah, everything is grimy and eerie as hell, but it's supposed to be. I'm alpha testing something or other, an immersive horror game maybe. I light up a cigarette, and I immediately notice 2 things. The first is that all the monitors are showing 3 different places, about a half dozen scenes apiece, give or take. The second's just how varied these screens are. Some are crystal clear, some are antiques, but all are behind a layer of almost imperceptible bulletproof glass. How do I know it's bulletproof glass? I don't, but it's clear, can't scratch it, can't leave a scorch mark on it. Most of the monitors are dull. Fast food place, gas station, inside of a house. After a while, though, someone comes home. Nice-looking lady, early 30s or so, smartly dressed, coming home late at night. I've been watching paint dry for hours. I'm instantly drawn to anything resembling action. What the hell am I doing here, I say, frustrated as I watch her through an impeccable screen. The house is dark. Her kitchen lights obscure the background. Shadows play like feral cats in her McMansion. I yawn, wondering when dinner is, or for that matter, what time it is. Then I see it on one of the older monitors. Could just be glitches from the ancient tech, but I swear it's a pair of eyes. It's subtle. Well done. It makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up, but as quickly as they appear, they're gone. The woman turns, looking to where the apparition once was. She does her fridge door. As she does, her fridge door closes, whether its own accord or something else, that's unclear. Nice, I say, complimenting the scare. Peter or no, my heart's racing. Boring hours fly by like water in a dangerous lake. I'm brought something they assure me is dinner. Meatloaf, heavy on the loaf, nearly green beans, and cornbread I debate on keeping to whittle. At least the coffee's decent, given to me in a 2-liter carafe. I look away when the woman starts changing. I'm starting to think this was a live improv, and meeting someone after I've seen them naked seems gross. One lamp on her desk lights her as she places modest jewelry in expensive cases. There's a noise, a keening wail, and the woman turns around, seeing nothing. We're in the same boat. That is, until I look at a smaller black and white monitor. Standing in front of the woman is a rotten, lanky specter, torn asunder and enraged. "Right in front of you!" I scream, but she can't hear me. The objects in the room rattle. It's enough to scare the wits back into the woman. She bolts to her bedroom door. The thing, that mournful thing, grabs her by the arm. The sleeve of the woman's housecoat crumbles. The flesh beneath it begins to wither. She tries to pull free, but the grip of the specter is immovable. She hammers down a hand, and somehow after 3 frantic blows, the spirit lets go, growling in rage. The woman gets distance between herself and the ghost, but the undead doesn't bother to move. Small furniture flies like it's been caught in a tornado. Windows rattle and fracture, sending broken glass in waves onto the carpet. The woman takes a wrong step, lacerating her foot, and she holds onto a banister for support. The ghost laughs. The woman rises as if she's being picked up by one leg. She screams now, begging. Blood pours from her torn foot into her eyes. The spirit dangles her in midair. Her arm begins to twist and warp, snapping and breaking. I try to cover the speaker, but it's no use. I can hear her pain. For a moment, she's still, and then, defenseless, she falls. The feed on that set of monitors cuts out, and I'm jarred back to reality. Sweat beading, nails digging into the armrest of the cheap chair. Well done, guys. I'm not usually one for ghost stories, but that was damn near worth the time, I say to whoever's keeping tabs on me. A few more hours of staring at the screens, and there's a loud klaxon, jarring in the small room. The monitors shut off, and a pre-recorded voice says, "Now begins your 10-hour rest period." There's a handful of reasons I have trouble falling asleep. Not the least of which is the amount of coffee I've had. A close second are those noises. I've watched everything from Psycho, which is great, and a Serbian film, which is horrible. And not once has audio stuck with me so much. I'm woken by that same eardrum punching tone. Before I can brush the sleep from my eyes, a breakfast is shoved through the slot in the door. It's about as well made as dinner was. More coffee, and half a cigarette later, I hear a voice from an unseen speaker. "Hey, Nathan," the voice says. I can hear papers rustling. "That's me," I replied. "Hi, call me Percy. I'm asking you a few questions about what you watched the previous day. If you have any for me by any means, just let me know." The voice is level. It's friendly. "I was expecting Adrian, to be honest," I said. Percy laughs. This is a little below his pay grade. I'm just a guy working a job, like yourself. Bit nicer digs. I'm also not making $2K a day. I smile. So, what do you want to know?" I ask. "Well, I'd like for you to give me your overall impression of what you've seen, with particular attention to things that stood out, or may have seemed odd," Percy replied. "The format's neat. You think you get obnoxious, but those actors you hired, those effects, they make it worthwhile. I cut down a little on the dead air, though. The ghost was scary, especially the wounding around the face. Unique is probably the right word. Second effect blew me away. One thing, though. Why did the ghost let go when the lady hit her? Didn't make any sense. Maybe if she hit it with like a Bible or something. But as is, I don't know, kind of killed the vibe. Seemed a little lazy, or I guess silly," I explained. "Good catch, Nate. I'll have the higher-ups have a look into that. Not a bad way to earn a few grand, huh? Percy replied. It'd be better if I wasn't hanging around with the ghosts of my own farts. That vent isn't doing a damn thing, I joke. The next 3 days go on in much the same way. I scan the monitors till something spooky happens, and do my best to point all the plot holes and stupid things I find. Not that there's much to pick apart. The variety alone makes things worthwhile. I'm seeing ghosts, demons, a couple of slasher villain types, a handful of different creatures despite the sponge baths and stale air. It's a dream job. But I wouldn't be posting here if the dream didn't turn into a nightmare. Day 5 shows me what this place is really about. Breakfast comes the same as always, a dish I dub Greg's, due to their color and my love of good portmanteau. I answer some questions, and the last thing I watched, some kind of monster fight club, seemed way too action-oriented, more like fantasy than horror, really. And I get ready for another day. My selection consists of an empty barn, a deep forest, and... Adrian, I said in the interview, no AI bullshit. I'm out. Open the door, and if you want your 20K back, you could see me in court. I'm not going to be part of the downfall of art, I say. No reply. My issue is, I'm recognizing one of the places I'm watching on a set of monitors. Kumar's Comics. Now, I'm not much of a geek, but I've been known to buy a comic or two, and while I'm not in there every day, I know the owners well enough. Kumar and Jaspreet Patel, a little over middle-aged, and kind of folks that truly love what they do. There's no way other than some kind of generative special effects that I'm watching them. Guys, I'm serious, I say. I try to sound enraged, but I hear the anxiety in my voice. It's 20K, I whisper to myself, justifying the tossing of my artistic morals to the wind. The more I watch, the more people I know I see. The more I'm actually impressed. I hate saying anything good about AI, but if I didn't know better, I'd swear I was actually watching cameras hidden in the shop. The longer I watch, the more I think that this can't just be some kind of special effect. I try to shake the thought, but as the hours slowly tick by, it's all I can think about. But what can I do? How could I prove things one way or another? My hand starts to move towards my phone. Plan forming. The second I grab it, a loudspeaker, distorted voice hits me with like a slap in the face. Nathan, do you know much about firing squads? Adrian said, his voice calm. No, why? I stuttered. In any firing squad, one man is given a rifle loaded with a blank. None of them know who. The reason why is that certain actions carry a weight, one that's too heavy to carry for most, no matter how noble the intention. It leaves that sliver of doubt that maybe you didn't really do anything. It's how most members of a firing squad sleep at night. If you make that phone call, it's only going to make things harder for you. Cling to that doubt. Cling to it like a life raft, Adrian explains. What are you saying? I asked, panicked. As little as possible. For your sake. And I have to remind you, using your device to communicate is against the rules of your contract and will be dealt with, Adrian threatens. I feel like I'm on the edge of a cliff. On one hand, I know this is all just some game, spooking me out of this joint. But on the other, a lot of things aren't adding up. I dial the number, I hear the ring echo through the monitors. My heart drops, I feel sick to my stomach. My phone disconnects when I look down. I don't even see the 4 emergency calls only prompt, just a string of strange, illegible characters. I hear Adrian sigh, then the speaker cuts out. A few seconds later, the industrial toilet sink combination starts spewing water. It goes on for minutes, soaking everything in the room and leaving about 3 inches of standing water. I'm shivering and scared, and I understand how truly fucked I am. Watch the monitors, Nathan. You may not understand, but you're helping to save life as we know it, Adrian demands. What else can I do? The day slowly trickles by. Every customer, every shadow makes my heart stop. Around 11 p.m., Kumar and Jasprit begin to close down the shop. I think maybe they're safe. Just another of the feeds where nothing happens. No one likes being proven wrong, myself included. The door wasn't locked. A short, stocky man in a dragging raincoat and beat-up fedora walks in. Sorry, buddy, store's closed. Open up bright and early tomorrow, though, Kumar says. The man ignores him. The stranger, faded plaid coat, catches on a set of action figures, knocking them over. Sir, show a little more care, please, Jasprit says, nicer than necessary. The stranger laughs mockingly. I catch an angle of his face. Pale, rotund, full of small lesions. Look almost like burns. But as he grins, I see it. Each of his teeth are small clusters of wires. Get out. Come on, fucking run! I scream at the screen. But of course they can't hear me. I know what this guy is, or at the very least what he's capable of. I can't just sit here. What choice do I have? Yesterday I probably have said he's the worst thing I've ever seen. He's not really scary. His gimmick seems tacky. The thought makes me sick to my stomach. The callousness I viewed people's trauma with. I vomit. The noise it makes in the standing water makes me retch a second time. Okay, Dick Tracy, it's time to get out of my store before I call the cops. You have 10 seconds, Kumar says in a commanding tone. The stranger snickers again, then turns to Kumar and his wife. I don't speak Hindi, but the squat man does. What he says shocks Kumar enough to pick up the phone and dial 911. But of course there's no dial tone. The lights flicker, then dim, then go out completely. Kumar and Jasprit use their phones as the light, trying to find their way to the door. They reach it, but it doesn't budge. Kumar begins to rattle the door. There's an electric arcing sound, then above them is a twisted grin made of arcing wire. I don't catch much of the violence. By the time the stranger sinks his teeth into Kumar, they both drop their phones. The feed cuts out. I feel lightheaded, like nothing is real. But it is. All of it. I just watched people I know get killed by a C-list urban legend. I don't sleep. By the time I hear Percy, I'm staring angrily at the wall. Hey, I got about 10 seconds to talk. You need to think about this like getting drafted into a world war. It sucks. It's going to change you, but it's for the fate of the world, Percy says, his voice panicked. Why the hell are you doing this? Why are you killing people? I screamed. We're not. Every place you watched is the result of months of research, and even then, it doesn't always pan out. But the higher-ups, they don't fuck around, okay? Do your time, get out. Don't let anything get in the way of that, Percy pleads. From then on, things don't feel interesting or exciting. Knowing what I know, the violence hits home. It fucks with my head. The worst are the stupid ones, the kind of things I'd share with my family for the sole purpose of mocking the writer, something about a creature or a spirit that can be accurately described as cringeworthy, taking someone's life. It's shocking and dismal. And there's the cell itself. After the first day of standing, water spots of mold and veins of mildew start to develop on the wall. A couple of days after that, I got a cough that won't quit. It's my second concern, beyond what I believe is a case of trench foot. Things are miserable. They're torture, really. By day 10, it's all I can do to focus on the screens in front of me. I'm running a fever. One of my toes is turning a foul shade of green. That morning's breakfast comes with a familiar-looking stack of papers. I laugh, then cough. And I see blood in the phlegm. It's a contract. Another 2 weeks of my life to have the water drain and some antibiotics. Of course, there's another $20K in it for me, but at this point, I'd burn the goddamn money just to get out of here. Truth be told, I don't know if I'm going to last another 4 days without medical attention and air without spores in it. I sign. Of course I do. It's not like I have a choice. If it was a case of being shot, maybe I'd be brave enough to face the music instead, but the thought of dying a slow, infected death in a sodden cell terrifies me. There's no happy ending here. I'm still in this cell. Day 13, in fact. First day since the 5th I've seen a familiar place. My cell. It sits perched in the corner of the room, looking down at me from the ceiling. I can't see it when I look, but on an old green-tinted monitor, it lurks. I can't make out much of it besides what I think is a rusted old army helmet. Its long brass teeth reflect the scant light in the cell. Water's flooding my prison as I finish typing this. Punishment for reaching out to all of you. It's my cry for help, my scream to the void to try and figure out some way out of my situation. But this is also my warning. Something is happening to the world, something big and chaotic and worse than anything that we've seen before. Rules are breaking, logic is failing, things aren't what they seem, and someone somewhere out there is keeping an eye on all of these threads and the YouTube comments, looking for those people that know what they're looking for, those of us who live and breathe urban legends, ghost stories. Watch your back, guys. I don't know what else to say. Hey there, kids, it's me, MrCreepyPasta, and we're currently entering fall, which means Halloween is right around the corner. I just want to say thank you guys for watching tonight's video, listening to tonight's episode of the podcast, and to start expecting more audios as we go closer and closer to the spookiest day of the year. Once October starts, you know what that means. I'll be having out a video every single day until Halloween itself, and I expect to see you there. I mean it. I expect to see you there for every video, for every podcast episode, and I expect to see you like, comment, and subscribe, and all that jazz bell, what do you do on podcasts? Follow on Spotify? Yeah, that, for the month of October, and especially so you don't miss the 13-day countdown. Also, I want to give a huge thank you to everybody on this list of Patreons. Some of these amazing folks are Diana Kraus, AcidSystem, Blake Rattler, Brandon Mendoza, Brenna, Caltuna, ChicagoHitman, CoryxKenshin, CrusaderChocobo, Dakota Best, Daniel Poulsen, Dante Kinkade, Enchanted Buns, Estebean, Hades' Nephew, Himbo Jerry, Our Minute Seconds Time, Ingegerd Solstrom, Jay Kearns, Jadis Pet, McMog, Mr. Marcus Blitz, Psychomel, Plant Piz, Red Shadow Cat, Remember the Sun, Salty Surprise, Samar Lynn, Seclude, Simba's Bloody Mojo, Sky Harbor, Smiley the Psychotic, Sully Man, Tully Sue, Team Leo 76, The Demented Voice in Your Head, The Chavez Brothers, The Ginger Bros, Tommy Walters, Viceroy Scorn, William Wellington, Your Bro Keegan, Zabub, and Shadow Gardens. A huge thank you to you guys, everybody who shows up in the description down below, and as always, folks, sweet dreams.